Welcome to American Dreams Realized. I'm Daniel Fitzgerald, and I've spent the last 20 years helping entrepreneurs live their American dream. Traveling from coast to coast, training and consulting with hundreds of entrepreneurs, helping them to grow their businesses and create generational wealth. I wrote the book Your Business Pipeline, the roadmap to entrepreneurial success, to show business owners how to work on their business and not in it. And I've launched the nonprofit American Dreams Realized, founded to help entrepreneurs achieve their own American dreams by offering grants to help them succeed. Entrepreneurs starting a new business or looking to take their existing business to the next level can apply for a grant right here on AmericanDreamsFoundation.org. And on this show, American Dreams Realized, I interview leaders, rising stars, and successful entrepreneurs as we uncover how they're living their American dream. Welcome to American Dreams Realized, where we interview leaders, rising stars, and successful entrepreneurs, highlighting how they've achieved their American dream. Today, I'm happy to introduce Evan Islam, CEO of Central Station Marketing. Evan is a successful entrepreneur, an inventor, and a self-proclaimed internet geek.
I'll take it. I'll take that.
Evan, welcome to American Dreams Realized.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So let's get started. Where were you born?
I was born in Bangladesh. It's a country, Southeast Asia, close to India. And I moved to the United States when I was 13 years old.
Okay. And where did you land?
Well, I grew up in Houston, Texas. Essentially, I started my middle school journey here and then went through high school, college, and then moved to Florida. So, because I started my associate's degree in media arts and animation.
In Houston?
In Houston.
Okay.
And then I realized that I had an associate degree and it's very hard to get a job with just an associate degree, so had to get my bachelor's. So I went to Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So,
okay.
Spring break town, right?
Good choice,
very nice
right?
area. And then just finished that, and at some point moved to New England area.
So your major and what your focus was in school in Florida was what?
It was media arts and animation. So the dream was to become an animator at Pixar, possibly. I'm talking about the 90s, right? Pixar was new at that time.
Yes.
And this was I think a lot of young kids, we grow up watching cartoons and you want to make your own cartoons at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got your degree, and what did you find when you got out into the job world?
Well, luckily, maybe I would say I was lucky enough when during our graduation ceremony, we had this thing called some sort of a demo reel that you got to present to guests that comes into this portfolio show. And when I graduated from Art Institute of Houston, I got a job right away during that portfolio show. But it was, you can imagine in the late 90s, early 2000s, you get $12 an hour. You want to get more. So then I went in to Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they also had a demo reel or graduation during the graduation ceremony. I got a job on the spot there as well. So lucky enough, where in the industry, especially in animation, it's very hard to get a gig, but I was lucky enough to get the jobs right away. But that job also was in animation, somewhat cartoonish, but you realize that in order to make a 3-minute video animation, you got to spend almost 8 to 10 weeks developing models, movements, animation, and all that stuff. It's just a lot of work for 3 minutes of glory. So that's why you realize, is it going to pay the bills in the long term?
The compensation, is challenging there, right? So was that in Florida? You started your work career right there too?
That's right. I worked for a production house where I did animation in terms of like infomercials.
Okay.
So you get those lose weight in 6 weeks. So you have to make the guy that is skinny or big, make him skinny.
Before and after
animations. Right. Or you have you put some some cream, and all of a sudden your skin gets beautiful.
You're a
and,
model, after that.
So you have to. It's a lot of it is you just have to make it.
But at least you got into that side of it, where at least it was the commercial side, right? So that was your entree into, hey, it's all about marketing, and I've got to work for the commercial side where
Correct.
they pay the bills. And so you left Florida, you went up to the north.
Yeah. So my dad. I'm talking about 2005 era, 2004, 2005.
Yep.
My uncle had a couple of cigar shops in
Okay.
Connecticut. So
Florida to
yeah, they needed
Connecticut.
some help running the cigar shop. So, and plus the job that I was in, and after doing it for a year, I was passionate about developing websites. Okay, so
Okay.
when you're in art, I'm talking about in the 90s when I went to art school. When you create an art, you have to show it off. Back in 90s, how do you show it off? You have to show it off through, you used to be on a chat room. You want
Right.
to send a picture out. So what I had to do is I had to create my own websites. I built my first website in 1998, back in the days, just to show off my artwork. So that kind of became a passion. It's like a side jobs, part of the animation.
Yeah.
And that led me to, I've always wanted to develop websites and stuff. So doing animation for a year or so, I kind of enjoyed it. At the same time, it was a lot of labor-intensive work.
Right.
And so the opportunity came up to help my uncle with some cigar shops, and I'm like, all right, I'll just go up there for 6 months or so, and then I realized that the cold weather, it was a different weather from Florida to Connecticut, but that kind of took me to Connecticut to help out with the stores, family business kind of deal, you could say.
And you're a family man, so you built a family up there as well while you were in Connecticut, right?
Yeah. I got a beautiful wife and two young and healthy boys. I usually say, I got way too many kids. I should have stopped after one because my little one is running around very hyper, but the best thing ever. They keep the interest going. They keep you active as much as they can. So yeah, I have 2 kids.
I have 2 as well, and it's funny the way you say that because they are completely opposite, right? You
enough.
have one, it's the way they are. You're like, oh, okay, I'm ready for the next, and the other one comes in and completely different.
My oldest one is so mellow that I want another one, and then I realized I have way too many kids.
Yeah, that's life. So, well, congratulations. You got a beautiful family. So, what got you? You're in Connecticut now. What got you into the home services realm?
So about 6 months into my cigar shop work, and kind of like was looking around to get back into the career in a way, right? So ended up started searching, and back then in 2006, you had to open up a newspaper to see job postings. And sure enough, I saw a manufacturer in Connecticut that was looking for a webmaster at the time.
That was the direction you wanted to go.
Yeah,
So,
keep in mind, back in 2006, it was all about Yellow Pages, who had the biggest spread in the Yellow Pages.
Right.
So I saw the company's website, and I'm like, I can definitely make an improvement on that. So I interviewed, and sure enough, got an opportunity there, and that's how my entire internet career started. And in the home improvement side, and I would say this, that because it was a manufacturer, they had 300 dealers in USA, Canada, and UK.
Okay.
And that gave me an opportunity to work directly with business owners, because these are small independent businesses that needed help marketing. And in that time, 2006, 2007, 2008, the home improvement guys were just getting into the digital marketing space.
Right.
Prior to that, it was
That was
all
the inception,
which
yeah.
it was just all Yellow Pages and TV and radio, and that internet was the cheapest marketing effort you could do at that time.
So you're building websites and you're creating platforms. What were the challenges that you faced that you overcame? One of them I think was even an invention that you had. What did you do back then?
Yeah. So the number one when I first got into it, I didn't realize how big this industry is. And one of the biggest challenges that the manufacturer had was, hey, as a manufacturer, I want to generate leads for all of those locations nationwide. So as I generate the leads, how do I distribute the leads?
Right.
So I had to develop a software based on zip codes, based on round robin. So send out leads if the lead come into a central location. Today's day, you can compare that to, let's say, Angie's List or Home Advisor.
Okay.
They generate a lead, they distribute to 4 or 5 guys. Whereas what we're doing is we're generating leads and we're sending to one of our local dealers, so it's one-to-one matching. It was easier. So we were just giving out the leads to our dealers so they could go run the leads, right?
Right from the brand, from that contractor's
Correct.
brand is generating the lead in their market.
That's right.
And they're the only ones receiving it.
Only one receiving.
But there's
in the
hundreds
market.
of them all over
That's
the
right.
country, all over North America.
That's correct. So you had to build an algorithm to send out those leads based on zip codes, based on is this a match on the service types and things of that nature, and also how many leads did I give this guy, how many leads did I give that guy. You have to build all of that stuff into the software.
So you built all these algorithms
Yep.
and created that distribution method.
And then came
got
into-
accolades for that, right?
That's right. And then came into, okay, Evan, you're able to generate leads through this main website and give the leads to the dealers. This dealer needs to generate their own leads through their own website. So now we started developing a software to build and manage the local dealer's website. And the
Okay.
challenge was when I had 6 or 7 dealers. Back in the days, you had to have their own hosting environment. You have their own databases. You have to have their own files. So it was a management nightmare when you have 7, 8 sites. And as you grow into this network has hundreds of clients, so we had to build a software that allows me to log in to a single place and manage any one of those sites, their content, their reviews, their testimonials, their jobs, recent jobs that they've completed.
Over the years, it
all of
gets
that
more
stuff.
sophisticated,
That's
right?
right.
It started out, it was simple, but as the years went on,
Correct. It was, and the biggest challenge at that time, you were talking about challenges, was the search engine optimization, meaning to rank those websites. If you search for water damage in this town,
Right.
roofing contractor in that town, how do you rank for that? And I would say in 2008, 2009, 2010, it was much easier than it is today. So you can have a nice little website, you can put some nice title tag, put some backlinks, and all of a sudden the sites rank. But the challenge was to manage hundreds of websites with one single login
Okay.
and manage, because I had to have we had a team of about 40 plus people in that department. So how do we get all these team members to log into this platform and manage hundreds of websites?
Right.
That was the biggest challenge that I had to resolve. And that was that gave me a lot of learning into the business owners, the businesses themselves, and how do I get content from the locations? How do I create a system where their employees can log in and submit reviews, jobs, case studies, and things of that nature to make the website bigger and bigger and bigger, their independent websites.
So at this point, you're winning awards, you're getting accolades, you've built this kind of new, I mean, it was a new industry and you're kind of on the cutting edge of that. So what you decided you wanted to go the Fortune 500 route?
Yeah, so, it was a great success story. And I don't know, I read the book called Good to Great by Jim Collins.
Yes,
So
great.
he
great book.
mentions in that book, one of those great companies was Pitney Bowes at the time, big
Okay.
mail machine company. So I'm like, oh, they're in Connecticut, and they had a job opening, and I applied, and part of me wanted that Fortune 500 experience because, I wanted to build my resume. I was young at that time, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized that I did get in. I had great success at Pitney Bowes as well. The reality is, it's a big Fortune 500 company, so your impact is very minimal when you start off there versus on the other side, on the contractor side, I was helping the business owner. I was helping the business owner become successful, which was helping their employees, their families. The impact was significantly greater that I could visualize, I could see.
Yeah.
So kind of So the Fortune 500 experience didn't last long because I kind of itched to help people more.
It's almost
And-
ironic that you'd think the Fortune 500, the huge entity, would be where you would get the greater impact, but the reality was the hands-on and the trickle-down was really more on the
That's what I
entrepreneurial
enjoyed
side.
more. Yeah, that's what I enjoyed more. I'm sure if I was staying in the Fortune 500 experience side, maybe I would probably move up the ladder slowly and make bigger impact at some point. But I felt the small business area was a much better fit for me.
So that led you to delving into your entrepreneurial spirit, right? That brought you to building something for yourself and
Yeah.
using your background. So tell us a little bit about what you did at that point.
So about 11 years ago in 2013, so I left Pindy Bowes and started with a dealer of the manufacturer that I worked for.
So a contact that you had.
Yeah, the contact that I had, and I was like, hey, I've always wanted to move back to Texas because that's where I grew up. Is there an opportunity? And I want to do what I did at the previous company. And sure enough, he's like, come on over. Flew me out for a day, and next thing I know is I'm starting a new business. And, I was one employee at that time, just myself, and slowly grew that to, I think we have 17 people in the States here, and we have another 96 or 97 people overseas right now.
Wow. So you've really built a large operation now to handle.
I think that's still a small operation when you think about it. We have about right now. So what I did was I rebuilt that platform that I built for the manufacturer.
Yes.
So you know how you say, if I knew then what I know now.
Right.
So when I restarted developing that tool in 2013, I do know now, like what I wanted to build. So I rebuilt it with the end company in mind. So I built a lot of tools where now the contractors themselves can go log into the platform and manage their content themselves. Their employees can have access, and then they can go in and add jobs, add reviews, request testimonials, request reviews, and all of that stuff. And that makes the site grow bigger and better, give it a lot more content. And we're finding pretty good success in terms of the websites that we manage. They rank well. More importantly, what's the point of ranking? They generate phone calls. They generate leads.
Right,
Ultimately,
which
it's
is-
about generating leads.
And that's where you started, and everything's come full circle, right? So
Pretty much.
That's still the case. So, what are some of the technological advances that you've been able to create while at Central Station Marketing?
One of the main things I would say is I'm still proud of is the platform that we have. We call it the Jupiter platform. So what that does is that allows a business owner to manage and host their website within our platform, because most business owners are contractors.
Yeah.
They don't want to deal with hosting. They don't want to deal with the technical management of the website. So I take all of that away from them, okay? Next is the performance. They're good at fixing roofs. They're good at putting up windows. They're good at cleaning
hands-on
carpets.
stuff. Yeah.
They're not good at marketing on the web. Now, they may have a digital marketing specialist in their office, but that person is sort of like a director. Their job is to make sure that, hey, my radio is working properly, my internet's working properly, my yellow page is working properly. So we come in and take over the internet marketing component, and we help them with the content writing, because they know a lot about the subject matter, but they don't know how to write it technically for the web, for Google.
Right.
So what we do is we optimize their website content. We also let them, we also track all their phone calls. So when they log into their platform, they can see how many calls are generated from their website. They can see how many actual, not just calls, that's just the contact, but how many of them are actual leads. So you have to transcribe the calls and listen to them to figure out if it's a good lead or a bad lead. Because somebody may call you and say, hey, I want to reschedule an appointment, or I want to sell you something. Those are not leads. So when you look at like a analytics tool that says you got X many conversions, is it truly a conversion, or is it just a noise where somebody just called you to ask for to reschedule an appointment?
Right.
So you have to go beyond just how many visitors I got, how many hits I got, all of that noise that a lot of web marketers say.
Of those visitors, right? That's what's really
now
matters.
You have to convert it into actual leads, actual appointments for my employees to go run an opportunity.
So talk to me about this hyper-local approach, and you want to generate leads. Contractors want to generate leads in the towns that they're in. Mm-hmm. So if your headquarters is in one, say it's in the upper right, part of your territory, how do you generate leads? You might be an hour away.
That's right. So we're in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So
Right.
let's use this as an example. So I have a business in Dallas, but I service Fort Worth. And if you look at this area for people that live around here or that don't, there are other major towns like Plano, Frisco, McKinney. So people optimize for my service in Dallas. But it's beyond that. My service in Dallas, Plano, Frisco, Fort Worth, McKinney, Arlington, all the different towns around here, right? So a lot of web marketers, what they do is they deploy a strategy where they create landing pages for each one of those service towns.
Okay.
But that strategy is done by pretty much everybody nowadays. I think it's a known commodity right now. But how do you make that content unique? How many different ways you're going to talk about the same service into 70 different towns that you service?
Right.
So what happens is, how do you make that content unique is by adding jobs from that city. Because the job A may be different than job B, and if they're in two different cities, put them in two different pages. Then you have reviews, because if you ask for reviews, you get tons of reviews coming into your website or to your profile. A lot of people focus on Google reviews.
Right.
Which is good, you should, but at the same time, Google reviews, the consumer that write Google reviews, there's no location associated with that consumer. So how do you know that review came from Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, or Bangladesh?
You don't. Yeah.
So what we do is we bring all that reviews into our platform, then we match it against their database of where the customers are housed, their CRM, and then put in, this customer is from Plano. This customer is from Dallas. This customer is from Fort Worth. So now what you can do is you take the same landing pages that you have, take all the Dallas reviews, put it onto the Dallas page. Take the Fort Worth reviews, put them into the Fort Worth landing page. So that's how you create those landing pages to be more unique. The other things you can do is, remember we talked about you're getting a lot of phone calls coming into your company?
Yes.
Transcribe those phone calls. Every caller talks about a need for one of the services that they offer, and the callers are from different towns.
So that's
So just take
keyword
that
optimized.
keyword optimized, take that recording, convert it into transcription or whatever you want to call it, and put it into that city page as well. So what you're doing is you're creating date-specific, relevant content, and keep adding to your city page to make that city page longer and longer and longer over times, and you'll see that you're ranking pretty well for that city in that
Unique
town.
content coming
Unique
onto
content.
the site every week.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead of just rewriting the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, which Google's not going to like that. So you mentioned Bangladesh. Obviously, you were born in Bangladesh. You have now built a team over there, a pretty substantial team, to supplement your U.S. employees.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Bangladesh team.
Well, one thing I'll tell you is it's a developing nation. It's becoming very advanced nowadays. One thing I've learned is 85% of universities now offer computer science degrees. So there's this huge labor force coming out with very good knowledge on technology, on computer science, on coding and things of that nature. The problem is there's not a whole lot of opportunities there yet still. And I think the opportunities are growing. So since I'm from there and I go visit there and I have slowly built a team there, what I'm learning is if you train them, if you build a team, if you want to build it your way, you can produce high quality content, high quality tech, as long as you're bringing the American mindset, skill set over there, you can get a lot done over there. And if I deliver a page to you, you're not going to be able to tell if it's made in Texas or if it's made in Bangladesh. So that's how we're training them to get so good at what we need to do. And that requires me staying up late nights, early mornings because it's a time difference.
What's the time difference?
It's 12 hours.
It is 12.
Exactly 12 hours.
Okay.
So that means it's 12 noon here, it's midnight over there. So you have to do this day and night thing. But they're like sponge. They're learning this stuff and they're producing pretty high quality stuff for us. So I can scale at a much faster rate over there than I can bring on resources here.
Wow, that's great. So you've learned how to recruit, how to hire there, with the concept in mind that you're going to be training them and getting them, kind of Americanized.
That's right.
And they love the fact that they're working for American companies. Right?
Oh man, they covet the idea of they're working for an American company. It's just a dream come true for them, right? So the fact that we have American clients, American businesses that I can take to them, and then them working on these sites, they're excited, they're passionate, they want to work for us. I got guys that have been working for me there for 8 years, 9 years now. So it's not like I have a turnover issue because we're creating a great environment there, and it's just fun. It's just fun working with the team overseas.
Fantastic. Well, we're showing some of the some images of some of the events and stuff you've held there for them, and they look like they're extremely happy. The culture I think that you've developed there is fantastic, and that team is helping you to achieve what you were just mentioning as far as the strategy.
That's right.
Behind your
we can
your
scale.
successes.
We can scale now, right? So now we manage about roughly a little over a couple of hundred clients nationwide and central station marketing. So as I bring on more clients, I have a army of people that can help me support those sites in the long run.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, I'm really impressed by your strategic initiatives in this realm and what you've done to separate yourself and Central Station Marketing from the masses that are out there. I mean, I love the the concept. I think it all stems from what you built years and years ago, right? I mean, learning back then at the beginning of the
That's
internet
right.
and being able to take it right to the present is impressive. So, with the time we have remaining, I wanted to talk a little bit about your legacy. What do you see yourself leaving behind? What have you created? I know you've started a nonprofit. What have you created that you're looking at as your leave behind?
Yeah. So one of my mentors from my previous companies, he wrote a book called The Highest Calling. And I think very highly of him. And he's said, what is your highest calling? So to me, I have this foundation called Shapla Foundation, which sponsors children in Bangladesh. And you watch those in the 90s. I grew up in the States here. I used to watch those Christian child sponsorship programs where they sponsor a child in Colombia or Nigeria. And what you do is for $1 a day, you sponsor a child overseas. But you see, you give them $30 a month, but you don't know how that money is being used.
Right.
Sure, you get a nice little basket of letters and some pictures in the beginning, but after that, what happens? So what I built is, I like to think, the first transparent child sponsorship program. So what that means is if you sponsor a child through my software, you, as a sponsor, we give you weekly updates on how the money is being spent. So we buy eggs, we buy foods, we pay school tuition. We document that into the back end because I have caretakers whose job is to tell how the money is being spent. And then also we upload photos on a regular basis. So as a sponsor, you feel attached. You can see the growth of that child on how they're performing. Recently, I got news one of my kids is graduating from high school. Now, that may seem like, okay, big deal. The reality is we're talking about kids in the slums, right? We're talking about kids that are, if they're 12, 13 years old, they'll probably be into, if they're boys, they get into child labor at an early age. Or if they're girls, if the parents can keep them in the family, at an early age, they think about getting them off to marriage, early child marriage kind of situation.
Wow.
Sometimes, not always, but those are the things that I'm trying to prevent, right? So if I get a child, the contract I have with the parents is if they go into child labor, if they go into early child marriage, my contract's going to end with you. I'm not going to fund them anymore. So that's the program, and I kind of
incentive for them to hang
yeah,
in
hey,
there.
I'm going to fund their school education to betterment of the community.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we make the kids do, we force them, we have some programs that we implement, which is clean your streets. That's not going to help me here in the States, but make your community better. Help somebody's cow clean their cow, or take him to field grazing, right? Or
real impact, real value for them at that
talk
time.
about child abduction, build that awareness in your community, because these are slums, these are uneducated areas for most part. So we have
take
to
that for granted, and
We do.
we are actually going back to the grassroots and making that impact. That's
and as a sponsor, you know how your money's being spent. That's the idea. So
Impressive.
that in a nutshell is, so we have about 80 plus kids we're sponsoring right now. And the previous mentor asked me how many kids you have that I can help sponsor. I just said about 33 million. That's how many kids over there that are below the poverty line, right?
Right.
So it's a huge task
Yeah.
that we got to do.
hey, but
our
you're
part.
making impact.
We just need to do our part. That's it.
Well, Evan, this was terrific. Thank you very much for coming in. Very
man.
impressive stuff. I thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, American Dreams Realized. So if you have a startup business, or if you're looking to grow your existing business, you can apply for a grant from my nonprofit, American Dreams Realized. You can go to americandreamsrealizedfoundation.org, apply for the grant, and it will help you on either of those sides to live your own American dream. That's what it's all about.